Captain Sarah Chen sat in her chair on the bridge of the Prometheus. She was drinking coffee from her favorite mug when the ship started shaking. Red lights flashed all around her. "What's happening?" she asked. Dr. James Rodriguez looked up from his computer screen. His face was worried. "The FTL drive is acting strange. Something went wrong with the jump calculations. Can you fix it?" Sarah asked. "I'm trying, but we might end up somewhere we don't want to be," James said. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. Dr. Yuki Tanaka looked out the window. Captain? "I think we already did." Sarah turned to look outside. Her coffee mug almost fell from her hands. The space around them was full of huge ships shooting at each other. Bright green and blue beams of energy flew between massive warships. Some of the ships were bigger than entire cities back on Earth. "Holy cow," Sarah said quietly. "That's a big space battle." The Prometheus was a small research ship. It was designed to study asteroids and take rock samples. It was not designed to sit in the middle of what looked like the biggest space war anyone had ever seen. The human crew watched as giant ships exploded in bright flashes of light. "Should we leave?" James asked. "We can't," Sarah said. "The FTL drive is still broken. We're stuck here until you fix it." More ships appeared on their screens. These ships were different. They were black and covered in sharp points. They looked mean and angry. The crew counted over 1,000 ships on each side of the battle. "Captain," said Lieutenant Mike Torres, their communications officer, "I'm getting radio signals from both sides. They're speaking different languages, but the computer is translating them." "What are they saying?" Sarah asked. "Mostly things like 'die, rebel scum,' and 'death to the Empire.'" "You know, typical war stuff," Mike said. Sarah nodded. "Try to call both sides. Tell them we're just passing through and don't want any trouble." Mike worked at his station for a few minutes. "Captain, I think I found their main communication channel. I'll send a message now." He pressed a button and spoke into his microphone. "Attention, space battle people. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earthship Prometheus. We're just lost and looking for directions home. Please don't shoot us. We have no weapons and we're not part of your fight." The space battle stopped. Every single ship stopped shooting. All the bright energy beams disappeared. The explosions stopped happening. Both sides of the massive war just froze in space like someone had pressed a pause button. "That's weird," Sarah said. "Why did they stop?" "Captain," Mike said, his voice shaking a little, "I think I might have used the wrong radio channel." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked. "The computer says I broadcast on something called the Sacred Imperial God Emperor channel. It's marked as Holy Frequency, Divine Use Only in their system." Sarah stared at him. "You called the Space Emperor?" "I think so," Mike said. On the main screen, a new face appeared. It was not human. The creature had blue skin, 4 eyes, and what looked like tentacles growing from its head. It wore a fancy uniform covered in medals and gold decorations. "I am Admiral Zexthul of the Hegemony Navy," the alien said. Its voice was deep and scary. "What species dares to use the holy communication channel of our God Emperor? Identify yourself immediately." Sarah stood up and walked over to the screen. She had dealt with angry officials before. "Hello, Admiral. I'm Captain Sarah Chen. We're humans from Earth. Sorry about using your special radio channel. We didn't know it was important. We're just lost and need directions home." The Admiral's 4 eyes went wide. You are not afraid?" "Afraid of what?" Sarah asked. "We just want to go home. Can you point us toward Earth? It's a small blue planet about 30,000 light years from here." Behind the Admiral, other aliens were whispering to each other. Sarah could hear words like impossible and no fear, and what are they? "You stand before the might of the Galactic Hegemony," the Admiral said. "Our empire spans 10,000 worlds. Our armies are countless. Our power can destroy entire star systems. And you ask for directions?" "Yes, please," Sarah said politely. "We were on our way to mining station Alpha 7 when our drive broke. Can you help us or not?" Dr. Rodriguez leaned over to Sarah. "Captain, their ships are really big, but their technology is kind of old. My sensors show their engines are only about half as efficient as ours." "That's nice, James," Sarah said quietly. Then she spoke to the Admiral again. "Look, we don't want any trouble. We just want to go home. Do you have any coffee while we wait? Our machine is broken and I haven't had good coffee in 3 days." The Admiral looked confused. Behind him, more aliens were talking in excited voices. One of them, a green creature with too many arms, whispered something in the Admiral's ear. "Humans," the Admiral said slowly. We have never heard of humans. What empire do you serve? We don't serve an empire, Sarah said. We're from Earth, it's just one planet. We do science and explore space and grow food. Pretty normal stuff. One planet? The Admiral looked shocked. But your ship? Our sensors show it has weapons that could destroy our finest cruiser. Sarah looked confused. Weapons? We don't have weapons. We have mining lasers for cutting up asteroids and some defensive shields to protect us from space rocks. That's not military equipment. The aliens on the Admiral's bridge started talking louder. Some of them looked scared. Your mining lasers, the Admiral said carefully, could slice through our best armor. Really? Sarah asked. That seems like a design problem on your end. James, didn't you say their technology was inefficient? Very inefficient, Captain, James called from his station. Their power systems are wasteful. Their shields are weak and their weapons are poorly designed. I could fix most of their problems in an afternoon. The Admiral's face went pale blue, which Sarah guessed meant he was scared. You will come with us, the Admiral said. The High Council must see these humans. Perhaps your empire sent you to test our strength. We told you we don't have an empire, Sarah said. But fine, we'll come with you if it helps us get home faster. Just don't expect us to bow or anything. We're not really into that. You will not bow before the Council? The Admiral asked. Nope, Sarah said cheerfully. Where we come from, people are equal. We'll be polite, but we don't bow to anyone. The Admiral made a strange noise that might have been a sigh or a growl. Very well. Follow our ships to Imperius Prime, the capital of our empire. Try not to accidentally destroy anything with your mining equipment. We'll be careful, Sarah promised. As the human ship followed the alien fleet toward their capital world, Sarah sat back down in her chair and finished her coffee. Around her, the crew went back to their normal work. Dr. Tanaka started reading a book about space plants. James worked on fixing the FTL drive. Mike played a card game on his computer. They had just interrupted the biggest space battle in galactic history, scared a fleet admiral, and been invited to meet the rulers of a 10,000-world empire. But to the humans, it was just another weird Tuesday in space. The journey to Imperius Prime took 2 days. During that time, the human crew treated their alien escorts like helpful taxi drivers. Captain Sarah Chen asked Admiral Zexthul about the local coffee situation. Dr. James Rodriguez spent hours explaining to confused alien engineers why their power systems were kind of backward. Dr. Yuki Tanaka took pictures of interesting space phenomena and asked if she could study the plant life on different worlds. The aliens didn't know what to make of them, Captain. Lieutenant Mike Torres said on the second day. The Admiral keeps asking me weird questions. Like what? Sarah asked. He wants to know how many dreadnoughts Earth has and what our battle formations are and stuff like that. I told him we don't really have a space navy, just exploration ships and cargo haulers. I don't think he believes me, Sarah shrugged. Tell him the truth. Earth has about 50 ships like ours scattered around local space, doing research and mining operations. If he wants to know about our military, he can ask someone else. I study rocks for a living. When they finally arrived at Imperius Prime, even the humans had to admit it was impressive. The planet was covered in crystal towers that reached up into space. Floating cities drifted in the atmosphere, connected by bridges of pure light. Massive orbital stations surrounded the world like a ring of metal and glass. Pretty, said Dr. Tanaka. Though, I bet their energy costs are enormous with all those floating buildings. The gravitational engineering is interesting, James added, but they're using way too much power. I could redesign their systems to use half the energy and work twice as well. Admiral Zexthul heard this through the communication system. His 4 eyes went wide again. You could improve our greatest architectural achievements. Sure, James said. Basic physics. Your people seem to have skipped some important engineering classes. They landed at the Imperial Palace, a building so big it had its own weather system. The human crew followed their alien guides through halls decorated with treasures from 1,000 worlds. Holographic displays showed the conquest of entire star systems. Statues of great heroes stood next to weapons that could destroy planets. Nice decorating, Sarah said politely. Very shiny. The throne room was the size of a small city. The Galactic Council sat on floating platforms around a giant crystal throne. Each council member represented a different alien species. There were creatures with scales, others with fur, some that looked like walking plants, and a few that seemed to be made of living metal. At the center of it all sat the god emperor Nexavash, A being of pure energy contained in a suit of golden armor. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the vast chamber like thunder. "Humans of Earth," the God Emperor said, "you stand before the might of 10,000 worlds. Our empire stretches across the galaxy. Billions of beings kneel before our power. What do you have to say?" Sarah stepped forward. She looked around the huge room, took in all the fancy decorations and floating platforms, then said, "Nice place. Must be expensive to heat. Also, I'm getting some serious echo problems in here. Have you considered acoustic dampening?" The silence that followed could have been heard on distant moons. High Counselor Vexnar, a tall alien with purple skin and way too many teeth, floated down from his platform. "Do you mock the glory of our empire?" he asked in a threatening voice. "No," Sarah said. "I just think your interior design could use some work. This room is pretty but not very practical." Dr. Tanaka raised her hand like she was in school. "Excuse me, but could I ask about the bioluminescent plants in your gardens? The light patterns are fascinating. Are they naturally occurring or genetically modified?" The council members looked at each other in confusion. One of them, a creature that looked like a giant crab, whispered, "They're asking about our gardens?" "The plants are a hybrid species," Vexnar said slowly. "They were created by our greatest bioengineers over thousands of years." "Cool," Tanaka said. "We did something similar on Earth, but it only took us about 50 years once we figured out the basic genetics." "Would it be okay if I took some samples to study?" The God Emperor leaned forward in his crystal throne. "Humans, we offer you a choice. Join our empire willingly, and we will give you honored positions among our subject species. Refuse and face the consequences of defying our power." Sarah looked at her crew, then back at the God Emperor. "That's very generous, but we'll have to decline. Earth has a policy about not joining organizations without reading all the paperwork first. Do you have a brochure or something? Maybe a list of membership benefits?" "Membership benefits?" Vexnar sputtered. "You know," Sarah said. "Healthcare, vacation time, retirement plans. The important stuff. Also, what's your environmental policy? We're pretty serious about keeping our planets clean." The aliens started talking among themselves in dozens of different languages. The humans could hear words like impossible and insane being translated by their computers. Another council member, this one looking like a cross between a lizard and a tree, floated forward. "You dare to question the God Emperor?" "I'm not questioning anyone," Sarah said. "I'm just asking reasonable questions. Where I come from, you don't sign up for things without knowing what you're getting into." The God Emperor waved a golden hand, and the chamber fell silent. "Show them the glory of empire," he commanded. Giant screens descended from the ceiling, showing videos of imperial conquests. Massive fleets destroying rebel strongholds. Entire civilizations surrendering after seeing just one imperial dreadnought. Planets being reshaped to serve the empire's needs. The humans watched politely. "Impressive special effects," James said when the videos ended. "Though your tactical formations could use work. You're wasting a lot of firepower with those spread-out attack patterns." "Special effects?" Vexnar's voice went up several octaves. "Those are records of our greatest victories." "Oh, sorry," James said. "I thought they were movies. The explosions look pretty similar to what we do when we're mining asteroids. Just bigger." Dr. Tanaka raised her hand again. "Can I ask about the environmental impact of all that planet reshaping? It must be hard on the local ecosystems." The council members started whispering again, louder this time. "Tell us about Earth's military might," the God Emperor demanded. "What fleets do you command? What weapons do you possess?" Sarah shrugged. "We don't really have a military like you're thinking. We have exploration ships, cargo vessels, mining equipment, that sort of thing. The Prometheus is pretty typical. Just a small research vessel for studying space rocks." "Your research vessel," Admiral Zexthal said from the back of the room, "has defensive capabilities that exceed our finest warships." "Really?" Sarah looked surprised. "James, is that true?" "Well," James said, scratching his head, "our shields are pretty basic civilian-grade stuff. And our power core is just a standard fusion reactor. Nothing special." An alien that looked like a walking crystal formation nearly fell off its floating platform. "Your backup power system generates more energy than our primary battlecruiser reactors." "That's weird," James said. "You guys might want to upgrade your technology. I could show your engineers how to build better reactors if you want. It's not rocket science." "Well, actually, it is rocket science, but it's pretty easy rocket science." The God Emperor stood up from his throne, and golden light blazed around him. You claim to be a peaceful species from a single world, yet your casual capabilities surpass our greatest achievements. What is Earth hiding? Nothing, Sarah said honestly. We're really not hiding anything. Earth is just a regular planet with regular people doing regular things. We grow food, build stuff, explore space, and try not to mess up our planet too badly. Pretty standard civilization stuff. Standard? The God Emperor's voice shook the entire chamber. Sure, Sarah said. I mean, doesn't every species do that once they figure out space travel? The silence that followed lasted for a very long time. Finally, Vexnar spoke in a quiet voice. What do you want from us? Directions home would be nice, Sarah said. And maybe some decent coffee if you have it. Also, Yuki really wants to look at your plants. The God Emperor slowly sat back down on his crystal throne. Around him, the most powerful beings in the galaxy tried to figure out what to do with visitors who treated their mighty empire like a roadside rest stop. 3 days after the humans arrived on Imperius Prime, the Galactic Council was in chaos. The God Emperor had ordered his finest scientists and military experts to study these impossible visitors. What they discovered kept them awake at night. Dr. Kethrall was the Empire's leading expert on alien biology. He had studied thousands of species across the galaxy. But when he sat down to interview Dr. Yuki Tanaka about Earth's ecosystem, he quickly realized he was in over his head. Tell me about Earth's predator species, Dr. Kethrall said, his recorder running. Well, we have lots of different ones, Yuki said cheerfully. There are big cats, wolves, bears, sharks, eagles, snakes. Pretty normal stuff. And these creatures hunt your people? Dr. Kethrall asked. Yuki laughed. Oh no, most of them avoid humans. We're too big and scary for most predators, although bears can be dangerous if you surprise them. Dr. Kethrall made a note. So humans are apex predators on your world? I guess so, Yuki said. Though we mostly eat plants and farm animals now. Oh, and we keep some of the smaller predators as pets. Pets? Sure, house cats are really popular. They're great for catching mice and they're fun to play with. Dr. Kethrall looked up from his notes. House cats? Small feline predators, Yuki explained. About this big, she held her hands apart. They have sharp claws and teeth, excellent night vision, and really fast reflexes. Perfect hunting machines, but small enough to be harmless to humans. Dr. Kethrall stared at her. You keep hunting machines in your homes? Well, yeah. They're cute and fluffy. Want to see pictures? Yuki showed him photos on her tablet. Dr. Kethrall looked at the images of Earth's house cats and began to shake. According to his analysis, these harmless pets were perfectly designed killing machines. Their claws could slice through most galactic species like paper. Their speed and agility would make them nearly impossible to catch. Their hunting instincts were so refined they could track prey that most galactic citizens couldn't even see. How many of these creatures exist on Earth? He asked in a weak voice. Oh, maybe 600 million house cats, Yuki said, plus about 900 million dogs. Dogs are bigger predators, but really friendly. They're pack hunters originally, but now they just play fetch and sleep on our couches. Dr. Kethrall fainted. Meanwhile, General Morketh was having his own crisis. The general was the Empire's greatest military strategist. He had conquered 40 star systems and never lost a battle. But studying human military capabilities was breaking his brain. Explain your ship's weapon systems, he demanded of Dr. James Rodriguez. We don't have weapons, James said for the 5th time. We have mining equipment. Your mining lasers can cut through our strongest armor. James shrugged. Well, yeah. Asteroids are pretty tough. You need good equipment to cut them up efficiently. And your shields? Just basic protection from space debris. You know, cosmic dust, small meteors, radiation. Standard safety equipment for space travel. General Morketh pulled up tactical displays of the human ship. Your standard safety equipment is stronger than our military-grade defensive systems. Really? James looked concerned. That seems dangerous. What do you do when you hit a debris field? Or solar radiation storms? We avoid them, the general admitted. But what if you can't avoid them? James asked. Then ships are damaged or destroyed. James stared at him. You send people into space in ships that can't handle basic environmental hazards. Our ships are the finest in the galaxy, General Morketh protested. According to who? James asked. Look, I don't want to be rude, but your technology is really primitive. Your power systems are inefficient. Your materials science is centuries behind ours. And your safety standards are frankly terrifying. The general brought up videos of human recreational activities that Imperial intelligence had intercepted from Earth broadcasts. Explain these combat simulations. James looked at the screen showing a boxing match. That's not combat training. That's sports. Entertainment. Humans fight each other for entertainment? Well, yeah. Boxing, wrestling, martial arts, rugby, football. It's fun. General Morketh watched humans punching each other, tackling each other, and throwing each other around, all while crowds cheered. This would hospitalize most galactic citizens. Really? That's just regular physical activity. We start playing contact sports when we're kids. Your children engage in combat? It's not combat, it's playing, James explained. Kids need exercise and competition. It helps them grow up strong and healthy. The general made a strangled noise and reached for his emergency medication. Back at the Imperial Palace, High Counselor Vexnar was meeting with his intelligence officers. The reports they brought him were increasingly impossible to believe. Sir, said Commander Zethkal, head of Imperial Intelligence, we've analyzed Earth's broadcast signals and public information networks. What we found is disturbing. How so? Vexnar asked. Earth appears to be exactly what the humans claim. A single world with about 8 billion inhabitants. No space empire, no hidden fleets, no secret weapons. Just a regular civilization that happens to be impossibly advanced. That's impossible, Vexnar said. Yes, sir, but the evidence is clear. Their civilian technology is centuries ahead of our military systems. Their basic safety equipment outperforms our best defensive technology. Their mining tools could destroy our finest warships. Commander Zethkal pulled up more data. Their power generation, material science, computer technology, medicine, and engineering are all far superior to anything in the Empire, and they treat it all as completely ordinary. What about their military? Vexnar asked. That's the most disturbing part, sir. They really don't seem to have a traditional military. They have exploration vessels, cargo ships, mining operations, and research stations. But according to our analysis, any one of their civilian ships could destroy an entire Imperial battle group. Vexnar felt a headache coming on. What are you saying? Sir, I'm saying that if this is what humans consider normal civilian technology, then Earth might be the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. And they don't seem to realize it. Down in the palace guest quarters, the human crew was having a normal evening. Captain Sarah Chen was reading reports from the mining survey they'd been conducting before getting lost. Dr. Tanaka was studying samples of alien plants that the palace gardeners had given her. Dr. Rodriguez was sketching improvements to the palace's power systems because their inefficiency bothered him. Lieutenant Torres was playing a card game on his tablet when his communication system beeped. Captain, we're getting a message from Earth. Put it through, Sarah said. The screen lit up with the face of Admiral Patricia Williams from Earth Space Command. Sarah, there you are. We got your message about being lost. Are you all right? We're fine, Sarah said. Just had some FTL drive problems and ended up in the middle of someone else's space battle. The local government is being helpful, but their technology is pretty backward. James thinks he can get our drive fixed in a day or two. Good, Admiral Williams said. Try not to cause any diplomatic incidents while you're there. We're being very polite, Sarah promised. Although they keep asking weird questions about Earth's military capabilities, just tell them the truth. We're explorers and scientists, not conquerors. Anything else? Could you send some decent coffee? Their local stuff is terrible. I'll see what I can do. Williams out. The transmission ended. The humans went back to their normal activities, completely unaware that every word of their casual conversation had been recorded and analyzed by Imperial intelligence. In his office high above the palace, God Emperor Nexavash reviewed the day's reports. His most brilliant scientists were having nervous breakdowns. His greatest generals were questioning everything they thought they knew about warfare. His intelligence services were discovering that a single human world possessed capabilities that dwarfed his entire 10,000 world empire, and the humans thought this was all perfectly normal. The God Emperor looked out his window at the galaxy he had ruled for 3,000 years, and for the first time in his long existence he felt very, very small. After a week of studying the humans, the Galactic Council was more confused than ever. Every analysis suggested that these visitors from Earth were impossibly powerful, but they acted like ordinary people doing ordinary jobs. High Counselor Vexnar decided it was time to end the mystery. Perhaps, he told the God Emperor, the humans are lying. Perhaps they are scouts from a vast empire testing our defenses with false humility. The God Emperor considered this. Or perhaps their ship is unique and Earth is not as advanced as they claim. Only one way to find out, Vexnar said. We demand proof. That afternoon, the humans were summoned back to the throne room. Captain Sarah Chen arrived with her usual relaxed attitude, carrying a cup of the terrible local coffee and looking mildly annoyed at being interrupted from her geology reports. Humans of Earth, the God Emperor announced, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. We have heard your claims. You say your ship is ordinary. You say your technology is common. You say Earth is just one peaceful planet. We find this difficult to believe. Sarah nodded. Okay, what's the problem? We demand proof, Vexnar declared. Show us Earth's true power. Reveal your empire's military might. Sarah looked confused. I told you we don't have an empire. And I'm a geology researcher, not a military officer. I study rocks. Then contact your superiors, the God Emperor commanded. Let them speak for Earth's strength, Sarah shrugged. Sure, I can call home. But it's going to be a pretty boring conversation. She activated her personal communicator and waited for the connection to Earth. The signal took several minutes to establish, across the galactic distances. Earth Space Command. This is Admiral Thompson, said a tired voice. Who is this? Hi, Admiral, this is Sarah Chen from the Prometheus. We're still stuck out here with the aliens, and they want to talk to someone in charge about Earth's military or something. There was a pause. Sarah, I'm at my grandson's soccer game. Can this wait until Monday? Sorry, but they're being pretty insistent. Could you talk to them for a few minutes? Admiral Thompson sighed. Fine, put them on. But make it quick. Tommy's about to score a goal. Sarah gestured to the God Emperor. Admiral Thompson, meet the God Emperor of the Galactic Hegemony. God Emperor, this is Admiral Thompson from Earth Space Command. The God Emperor leaned forward on his crystal throne, golden light blazing around him. Admiral Thompson of Earth, your subjects claim to be peaceful explorers from a single world. Yet their capabilities suggest a vast empire. What is Earth's true military strength? Military strength? Admiral Thompson sounded confused. We don't really have a military in the traditional sense. We have exploration fleets, cargo haulers, mining operations, research vessels. Pretty standard stuff for a spacefaring civilization. Your research vessels possess weapons that could destroy our finest warships, Vexnar interjected. Weapons? You mean mining equipment? Well, sure, you need good tools for asteroid work. Look, I don't know what Sarah's ship ran into out there, but we're just regular people doing regular jobs. Nothing fancy. The God Emperor's voice grew cold. You mock us with these lies. Nobody's mocking anybody, Admiral Thompson said, sounding slightly annoyed. You asked a question, I gave you an answer. What more do you want? Proof, the God Emperor demanded. Admiral Thompson was quiet for a moment. Proof of what? That we're not some secret empire? Fine. I'll send a ship to collect our lost researchers. You can see for yourself what we consider normal transportation. You would send a military vessel to our capital? Vexnar asked. Military? No, I'll send a patrol cruiser. Nothing fancy, just something to give Sarah and her crew a ride home. The connection ended. The humans went back to their quarters while the Imperial fleet prepared for whatever Earth might send. 2 days later, alarms began sounding across the Imperius Prime system. Imperial sensors detected an incoming ship, but the readings made no sense. The vessel was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest Imperial dreadnought. Its power signatures were off the charts. Its defensive capabilities appeared to be impenetrable. Admiral Zexthul stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the impossible ship approach. What is that thing? He whispered. According to its identification signal, his communications officer reported, it's the UNSC Indomitable Registry Number HC-47, described as a light patrol cruiser of the Earth Colonial Fleet. Light patrol cruiser? Admiral Zexthul stared at the massive vessel. That ship could destroy our entire fleet single-handedly. The Indomitable came to a stop near Imperius Prime, and a smaller ship detached from its hull. The shuttle was sleek and fast, and even it was larger than most Imperial fighters. The shuttle landed at the Imperial Palace. From it emerged Captain Elena Vasquez and her crew. Captain Vasquez was a tall woman with graying hair, and the casual confidence of someone who had been exploring dangerous space for 30 years. She was met by a full honor guard of Imperial troops, but she barely seemed to notice them. She walked up to Admiral Zexthul and said, "Hi, I'm Elena Vasquez. I'm here to pick up the Prometheus crew. Are they ready to go?" Admiral Zexthul struggled to find his voice. "Captain Vasquez, that ship of yours made the Indomitable?" "Yeah, she's a good ship. Nothing fancy, just a standard patrol cruiser. We use her for keeping shipping lanes clear and helping out when civilian vessels get in trouble." "Standard?" Admiral Zexthul looked up at the massive vessel hanging in space above them. "That ship is larger than our greatest battleships." Captain Vasquez looked surprised. "Really? Huh, I guess our designs are different. Where I come from, the Indomitable is considered pretty small. She's got a crew of only 800. 800? Admiral Zexthul's voice cracked. "Our finest dreadnoughts require crews of 10,000. 10,000? For one ship?" Captain Vasquez shook her head. "That's terribly inefficient. You must have really old automation systems." In the palace throne room, Captain Chen greeted her old friend. "Elena, good to see you. Thanks for the pickup." "No problem, Sarah, though next time try not to get lost in someone else's civil war." "It wasn't on purpose," Sarah protested. "Our FTL drive had a malfunction. Yeah, those Mark 7 drives have been giving us trouble lately. Engineering's working on an upgrade." Captain Vasquez looked around the vast throne room. "Nice place. Very shiny." Dr. Rodriguez joined the conversation. "Elena, you should see their technology. It's incredibly primitive. I've been helping them fix their power grid while we waited." "That's nice of you, James," Captain Vasquez said. "Always helping people." The God Emperor watched this casual conversation in growing horror. These humans were discussing the improvement of Imperial technology like it was a hobby project. They were treating his greatest achievements as minor inconveniences to be fixed during their spare time. "Captain Vasquez," the God Emperor said, his voice shaking slightly, "how many ships like yours does Earth possess?" "Ships like the Indomitable?" "Oh, maybe 50 or 60 in the patrol fleet, plus the heavy cruisers for deep space work and the exploration vessels and the cargo haulers and the mining ships." She thought for a moment. All told, probably around 3,000 active vessels, give or take. Admiral Zexthul made a strangled noise and sat down heavily in his chair. "Of course," Captain Vasquez continued. "That's just the Earth colonial fleet. Each of the colony worlds has its own local ships. And then there's the private sector. Mining companies, research institutions, trading guilds. I'd guess maybe 10,000 human ships total scattered around local space." High Counselor Vexnar felt the room spinning around him. 10,000 ships like yours? "Oh no," Captain Vasquez laughed. "Most of them are much smaller. Cargo haulers, research vessels, mining ships. The Indomitable is military spec, so she's built tougher than most." She pulled out a tablet and showed them some pictures. "Here's my sister's mining ship, the Lucky Strike. She uses it to harvest asteroids in the Centauri system. Nice little vessel, crew of 12. The little mining ship in the picture was still larger than most Imperial cruisers. "And here's a typical cargo hauler," Captain Vasquez continued, showing another image. "These guys move supplies between the colonies. Nothing special, just basic transportation." The cargo ship was the size of an Imperial battleship. "Captain," Sarah said, "we should probably head home. I've got a survey report to finish, and we're already a week behind schedule." "Right you are," Captain Vasquez agreed. "Thanks for the hospitality," she told the God Emperor. "Your people are very polite." As the humans prepared to leave, Admiral Zexthul found his voice one last time. "Captain Vasquez, if your patrol cruiser is considered small and your cargo ships are basic transportation, what would you consider a truly powerful warship?" Captain Vasquez thought about it. "Well, I suppose if Earth ever needed serious military power, they'd probably activate some of the mothballed dreadnoughts from the colony wars. Those are real monsters. 5 kilometers long, crews of 20,000 armed with planetary siege weapons. But that's ancient history. We haven't needed ships like that for decades." She smiled cheerfully. "Anyway, nice meeting you all. If you're ever in Earth space, look us up. We'd be happy to help upgrade your technology." The humans left the throne room, chatting casually about family news, work schedules, and the latest improvements to FTL drive efficiency. Behind them, the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in stunned silence, trying to comprehend a universe where humanity's casual patrol ships could conquer their entire empire, and where the humans themselves considered this perfectly ordinary. The God Emperor looked out at his vast domain of 10,000 worlds and realized that he was no longer the most powerful being in the galaxy. He wasn't even close. 6 months after the humans left, the Galactic Empire tried to return to normal life. But normal had changed. Every day brought new reminders that they were no longer the most powerful force in the galaxy. The God Emperor had established a small embassy for Earth on Imperius Prime. It was staffed by a junior diplomat named Kevin Chen, Captain Sarah Chen's nephew, who treated representing humanity like his first job out of college. He was friendly, helpful, and completely unaware that his casual suggestions for improving Imperial technology were revolutionizing entire industries. "Hi, God Emperor," Kevin said during their weekly meeting, bringing coffee and donuts from the embassy. "How's the upgrade to your power grid going?" "Very well," the God Emperor replied. The improvements that Dr. Rodriguez had suggested were now providing twice the energy at half the cost. Several outer worlds had requested similar upgrades. "Your people are most generous with their knowledge." "No problem," Kevin said cheerfully. "Uncle James always says that sharing knowledge helps everyone. Oh, by the way, Earth Space Command asked me to let you know about a small problem." The God Emperor leaned forward. When humans mentioned small problems, they usually meant galaxy-threatening disasters. "What kind of problem?" "We detected some weird energy readings from outside the galaxy," Kevin explained, pulling out his tablet. "Probably nothing serious, but our deep space sensors picked up what looks like a massive fleet heading this way. Really massive. Like several million ships massive." The God Emperor's golden armor began to glow brighter. "Several million ships?" "Yeah, but don't worry. They're still about 6 months out, and they might not even be hostile. Earth's Department of Extraterrestrial Affairs is looking into it." Within hours, the news had spread throughout the Imperial capital. The Void Swarm, the galaxy-devouring menace that had consumed 3 neighboring galaxies, was coming to theirs. Imperial intelligence confirmed Kevin's casual report with their own deep space sensors. The approaching fleet was beyond comprehension. Millions of ships, each one the size of a small moon, moving in perfect formation. Emergency sessions of the Galactic Council ran day and night. Their greatest military minds ran countless simulations. The results were always the same: total extinction within months of the swarm's arrival. "We must evacuate the core worlds," High Counselor Vexnar urged. "Save what populations we can." "Evacuate to where?" demanded General Morketh. "The swarm has consumed entire galaxies. There is nowhere to run." Admiral Zexthul stood before a tactical display showing the approaching threat. "Our combined fleet numbers 50,000 ships. Against several million enemies, we might as well throw rocks at them." The God Emperor sat in his crystal throne, watching his empire prepare for extinction. Then he made a decision that would have been unthinkable a year ago. He contacted Earth. The response came from Admiral Thompson, who was once again interrupted from family time. "God Emperor, what can I do for you?" "Admiral Thompson," the God Emperor began formally, "I come before you in humanity's hour of need." "Humanity's hour of need?" "We're fine." Did Kevin not explain about the Void Swarm? "The approaching fleet will destroy all life in our galaxy," the God Emperor said. "I beg of you, help us. We will give you anything. Half our empire, all our treasure, our complete surrender. Only help us survive." There was a long pause. "God Emperor, I think there's been a misunderstanding. The Void Swarm isn't humanity's problem. It's a problem for us. You know, all of us who live in this galaxy." "But surely Earth's mighty fleets can handle it, yes," Admiral Thompson interrupted. "Look, I'm not a politician, so I can't make any official agreements, but that swarm is heading toward human space too, eventually. We can't let it eat our galaxy. I'll forward your message to the Department of Extraterrestrial Affairs, but honestly, we were planning to deal with this anyway." The connection ended, leaving the God Emperor staring at his communication system. 2 days later, Kevin arrived at the palace with his usual cheerful demeanor and an official message from Earth. "Good news," he announced. "The Department of Extraterrestrial Affairs has classified the Void Swarm as an environmental hazard to human expansion plans. They're sending a cleanup crew." "A cleanup crew?" Vexnar asked weakly. Yeah, just a standard peacekeeping force. Should be here in about 2 weeks. The Imperial fleet prepared for humanity's arrival with a mixture of hope and terror. They knew human cleanup crews could be devastating. What emerged from hyperspace above Imperius Prime 2 weeks later defied all understanding. The human colonial fleet arrived in formation, hundreds of ships that dwarfed even the mighty Indomitable. At the center of the fleet was the flagship, Leviathan, a vessel so massive it had its own artificial gravity field. Admiral Sarah Kim stood on the Leviathan's bridge, reviewing tactical data. She was a small woman in her 50s who spoke quietly and efficiently. To her, the galaxy-threatening swarm was a logistics problem to be solved. "Status report," she requested. "The Void Swarm will reach the Outer Rim systems in 4 days," her tactical officer reported. Total enemy strength estimated at 3.2 million vessels, each approximately 2 kilometers in length. They appear to be organic constructs, possibly grown rather than built. "Interesting," Admiral Kim said. "Biological ships might be vulnerable to biological countermeasures. Have the science teams prepare viral agents for testing?" She opened a communication channel to the Imperial fleet. "God Emperor, this is Admiral Kim of Earth's Colonial Fleet. We're here about your pest control problem." The God Emperor appeared on screen, his golden armor gleaming. "Admiral Kim, our combined forces are at your disposal." "That's very kind, but we've got this handled. I'd suggest keeping your ships well back from the combat zone. We'll be using some heavy-duty cleaning methods." The battle, when it came, was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. The Void Swarm arrived at the Rim systems in a wave of organic horror, consuming planets and converting the matter into more ships. For 3 days they swept through the outer territories unopposed. Then they met the human fleet. Admiral Kim treated the galaxy-devouring menace like an industrial accident. She deployed her ships in efficient formations, using weapons the Empire had never imagined. Instead of energy beams and missiles, the humans used gravitational manipulators, molecular disruptors, and engineered viruses that ate through the swarm's organic hulls. The battle lasted 6 hours. The Void Swarm, which had devoured entire galaxies, was systematically exterminated by human ships that treated the apocalyptic threat like a routine maintenance operation. Admiral Kim's fleet moved through the enemy formations with mechanical precision, methodically destroying every swarm vessel while taking minimal casualties. When it was over, the Admiral sent a brief report to Earth. Void Swarm eliminated. Minor equipment damage to 3 ships. No personnel losses. Recommend upgrading bio-warfare protocols for future pest control operations. The grateful galaxy offered Earth leadership of the reformed Galactic Federation. They expected humanity to become the new ruling species, the inheritors of a galaxy-spanning empire. Instead, Earth politely declined. "We're really not interested in management positions," Admiral Kim explained to the assembled leaders of 1,000 worlds. "Running a galaxy sounds like a lot of paperwork." Earth established diplomatic relations with the various species and offered technological assistance where needed. They set up a few trading posts and research stations, but they showed no interest in conquest or control. The former Galactic Empire had to learn to govern itself in a universe where the most powerful beings in existence considered them pleasant neighbors at best. 2 years later, Captain Sarah Chen was back to her regular job of surveying asteroid fields. The Prometheus had been upgraded with new equipment, but she still preferred the quiet work of studying space rocks to the complications of galactic politics. Her communication system chimed with an incoming message. It was from Kevin at the Imperial Embassy. "Hey, Aunt Sarah, just wanted to let you know the Galactic Council voted to give you the Medal of Honor for first contact with humanity. It's apparently the highest award in known space." Sarah looked at the message notification, shrugged, and deleted it without reading the details. She had more important things to do. There were some interesting mineral deposits in the asteroid field that needed proper analysis. Outside her viewport, the galaxy continued its daily existence, forever changed by its encounter with a species so far beyond them that universal domination was just another boring job to avoid. On Earth, Admiral Thompson finished reviewing the weekly reports from colonial operations. The Void Swarm incident was already filed away as a minor footnote in the exploration logs. The galaxy they had saved was just one of many interesting regions to explore when time permitted. He closed his computer and went home to watch his grandson's soccer game. After all, some things were more important than running the universe.